Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia, and in this video I'm gonna be working on this shawl here. And as you guys can see, I love the colors. I made it for the fall season, so if you're watching this at a different season, sorry, but you just need to change the colors. If you like the pattern, use the same pattern just to do it in different colors to represent different seasons. But I'm making this one obviously because I'm making it around fall time. And yeah, this is how it looks like. This is a medium size. I'm making it with acrylic number 3 or lightweight number 3 yarn. Of course, you can use any yarn you want, any size of yarn you want. But more importantly is that you understand the pattern and how it's done so that it comes out looking like this. Yeah, so this is what we're going to be working on. I will go ahead and get everything that I need, the materials, and we'll go ahead and get started. So please go and choose your colors, whatever colors you have. The next section of the video will talk about what we use in terms of crochet size and stuff like that, and then we'll go ahead and get started. All right, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, before we go ahead and get started with the pattern, I'm going to show you the materials that I need for this project. And as you can see here, I have my 2 color yarns. This is a brand called Azurite, 100% acrylic. Each of this skein is 50 grams. This brand goes by color number, not by color name. So as you can see here, this is 3057, and this one here is 3025. But I'm just going to refer to it as red and kind of like beige color. For a crochet hook size, I'm using a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook or G6 US. They're recommending 3.5 to a 4 millimeter crochet hook. And of course, you can use whatever size of crochet hook you want depending on how you want your work to come out. Because often when you use a bigger crochet hook, your work comes out a little bit more looser. And if you wanted to make it really tight, and also depend on how you crochet, but if you want to make it tight, then you want to go down in the crochet hook size, or you can just use exactly what is recommended. But that's what I'm using for this project. I have 2 stitch markers here in case I need them, and also if you need them, make sure you have some available, and of course a scissors to cut the strands. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, so to get started with the project, I'm going to start with this reddish maroonish color, and then I will alternate the colors as I go, but I will tell you exactly after how many rows you change, just in case you want to do it the same. But of course, you can do your project with just one color or multiple colors, either 2, 3, however you want. It will just depend on how you want your color arrangement to appear. But for me, I'm going to be using the 2 colors, and I will go ahead and commence with this one here. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start by doing a magic circle. And as you guys know, I do my magic circle very similar. I started off very similar to how I do my slip knot. Okay, so after I put it on my thumb like this, I slip it off my thumb, and make sure you have a tail that is a decent size here, because you don't want this to run out at the end and it undoes your work. And so then I take my crochet hook and I put it in that circle, and then I just go ahead and bring one in, but I keep this circle here open because this is our magic circle. So I hold it like this and keep it open. Then I go ahead and do a number of chains to start my my project. So I'm going to do here 3 chains. So 1, 2, and 3, and this counts as a double crochet. And then I'm going to go ahead and do 5 more double crochets in here. So I'm going to do a first one, which is our chain 3, counts as a double crochet. So now we have 2. Then I'm going to go in and do a third, and I'm going to go in and do a fourth. And as you see, I keep keeping my circle open. Okay, so that's 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so I have my 6 double crochets here, the first one being that chain 3 that we started with to make it a double crochet, and then I added 5 more. And then what I will do is I will do a chain of 2, so 1, 2, and then I will do 6 more double crochets in this big circle here into our magic circle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so this is our first row here. It's very simple, and what I do usually is I just remove my hook temporarily, and then I take my magic circle, the string that is hanging, and I just pull it, and that closes that gap here. Okay, and you leave it like this in case you need to undo your work. You leave it like this, and then you commence your work. And then I go back and start our second row, where I will do a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3, and I turn. And now we're gonna work back like this because this is a triangle shawl. This is gonna be one of the corner of the triangles. This is one, and then the top is gonna be the other. So when I do my chain 3 and turn, I have that stitch here where my chain 3 comes from, and in that I'm gonna do a double crochet. Okay, so just like that. Then I will move on and I'll go to the next stitch and I'll do a double crochet, and into the next stitch and I'll do a double crochet. And keep in mind, you're not going through the back loop or the front loop, you're going through both loops to do your double crochet. Okay, and I go into the next stitch and I go into the next stitch, and then I go into the last stitch right here. Okay, and I do my double crochet. Now keep in mind, on this side we had 6. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 so far here, before we go into the middle, which is our chain 2 space. Then I'm gonna go into the chain 2 space and do 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. So now this makes 9 on this side. Then I will do my chain 2 to create this corner here, and then I go into the same space, which is the chain 2 space from the previous row, and do 2 more double crochets. Okay, so now I'm continuing to create this corner here, as you can see. And then I move on and I go ahead, and this very first or the next stitch right after the center, we're gonna go ahead and do a double crochet, and then another double crochet in the next stitch. In the next stitch we do another double crochet, another in the next. Okay, and we're gonna make sure we have, so as you see, we counted 7 here and 9 with the 2 that go into the center, and you want to make sure you have 7 on this side minus the 2 here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need to be able to do 3 more. So in the next stitch right here, I'm going to do a double crochet. So that's 5. And then in the final stitch here, which is pretty much the top of the chain 3, so the top stitch of the chain 3 that we did, I'm going to do 2 double crochets in that corner. Okay, just like that. So now I have 9. So if you count on each side, you should have 9 double crochets here and 9 double crochets here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and then if you just kind of play with your work a little bit like that, you will start to see that this is gonna keep straightening itself like this. Right now it looks like it's kind of curving in like a heart. It looks like a little heart if you flipped it like this. Yeah, but it will keep straightening itself as you continue to work your rows. Okay, so this is the completed of the row 2. And of course, to start each row, you're going to do a chain of 3 and turn. And then in that very stitch that we just did our chain 3, you're going to do a double crochet, and then move on to the next stitch and do a double crochet. And then you do this all the way to the top. And when you have completed your final stitch on this side, then you go into the middle and you do your 2 double crochets, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets in the chain 2 space from the previous row. Okay, and at this point you will see that we're increasing by 3. In the previous row we went from 6 to 9, so I'll tell you exactly how much we will have on this side, but I will finish the row and then we can count our stitches. So as you can see, this is my final stitch here, and then I go into the center and do 2 double crochets, which will be for the right hand side. And then I chain 2 to make a separation, also to create a corner. Then I do 2 more double crochets into the center. Okay, and then I continue. So I pull my work a little bit like this to make sure I expose this stitch here, because you cannot miss that stitch. Otherwise you will have less stitches on one side, and that will make your work a little bit not too even and not too straight. So you make sure you pull it to the side so you can see that hidden stitch, and then you just continue to do your double crochets on this side as well, just like you did on the other side. And when you trust yourself enough, you will know that you don't have to count your stitches every time. But for the sake of this tutorial on this, after I finish this row, I will count just to make sure we are having the same number of stitches on one side and the other side is the same number of stitches. Okay, so as you see here, I'm gonna go on top of this second last stitch and do my double crochet on top of that. But then I'm gonna go do 2 double crochets on top of the third chain, the third stitch of the chain 3 that I did. So I just go into that and I do 2 more double crochet stitches here. And as you can see, the reason I did that, when we start here, we do our chain 3, and then in the same stitch where our chain 3 comes from, I do another stitch there. So again, if I just kind of stretch it out a little bit, it looks like that. And if we count this number of stitches on this side, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we went from 9 to 12, so we're increasing by 3. And if you see this side, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and they're even. Okay, so 12 and 12 on this side, so we have 24 stitches all together here. But as you can see, we just continue to build it up like this. So what I will do here, I will do one more row. I will not show you how to do that because at this point you just repeat what you did in the previous 2 rows. And then when you finish this 4th row, come back because we're going to do something a little bit different. Okay, so go ahead and start by doing your chain 3, work yourself all the way to this corner, and then come back. I will do the same and I'll show you what to do next. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed the 4th row here, and as you can see, this is how our shawl is looking so far after 4 rows. And as you can see too, this part here is going to continue to get straighter as we continue to work on our project. Just make sure you don't lose this string here, and every now and then just give it a little pull to close this hole here. Eventually when we weave it in, we'll make sure this hole doesn't show at all before we weave in our end. But often as we work on the project, at least for me, I don't do anything with the strings that are hanging until the end in case we need to correct our work and we have to undo it. But anyway, so with that done here, after the 4 rows, I'm going to start to do 2 rows of a mesh, so which means we don't put our stitches this close to each other. And to do that, I'm going to pretty much start the same way. So I do a chain of 3. So 1, 2, 3. I turn my work. And again, in that same stitch here, we're going to do a double crochet. Just like that. Okay. And now that I've done that, we're going to do a chain of 2. Skip 2 stitches. So skip this stitch and this stitch. In the 3rd, do a double crochet. And then chain 2. Skip this stitch and this stitch. In the 3rd, do a double crochet. Okay, so we're creating this mesh section of our shawl. Chain 2, skip this stitch in this stitch, and in the 3rd, do a double crochet. Chain 2, skip this stitch and this. In the 3rd, do a double crochet. Chain 2, skip this stitch and this stitch. You go straight into the middle and do 2 double crochets. Chain 2, then 2 more double crochets into the middle, so the corner. We're creating the corner, and we're going to keep that consistent because otherwise our work is going to be, it's going to keep getting flatter if we don't do that. So we're creating this corner here. Okay, and then we go on and do chain 2, skip 1, 2 stitches. In the 3rd here, do a double crochet. Chain 2, skip 2 stitches, 1, 2. In the 3rd, do a double crochet. Chain 2, skip these 2 stitches. In the 3rd, do a double crochet. Chain 2, skip 2. In the 3rd, do a double crochet. Chain 2, skip these 2, and on top of the chain 3, so the 3rd chain, the 3rd stitch from the chain 3, go into that and do 2 double crochets. So 1 and 2. Okay, and what we're doing here is we're matching what we did at the beginning here. So let me just undo this and kind of show the work the way you see it. So if you again just give it a little tag like that to make it flatter. Okay, this is how it looks so far. And as you can see, this is where we started. I did my chain 3, and in the same stitch I did a double crochet. And so we ended by doing 2 double crochets in the final stitch. Okay, And then of course we keep consistent, we keep the top here consistent to continue to create our corner. So as you can see, this is the first row of the mesh, but it's also the 5th row of our project. So we're gonna do one more that is just the same as this one before we go back to doing the double crochets the normal way. So here, 1, 2, 3, we turn, and in that same stitch I do a double crochet. Okay, and then what I will do here is I will chain 2, but I will just go straight from there to the next stitch to do my double crochet. Oops, to do a double crochet in that. So I'm creating this section here from nothing because I didn't skip anything. I went from here to this, but I have a chain 2 here, and then right into the next stitch I put a double crochet. Okay, and then I do a chain 2, and then now I skip the 2 chains that we did from the previous row, and on top of the double crochet we're going to do a double crochet, and then chain 2, and then from this point on nothing much to be done that is too complicated. You just do chain 2, skip 2 stitches, which is the chain 2 on top of the previous double crochet, do a double crochet, chain 2, and you just repeat this to the top, to the other corner here. And as you see here, now I'm about to kind of go towards this. I'm going to skip the chain 2s that we did from the previous row, and in that final last in the second double crochet from the center, I'm going to do my double crochet, and then this is where we do another chain 2, but we're only skipping 1 stitch here, and we're going right into the center, and we do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets into the center. So we have 4 stitches all together into the center, or 4 double crochets into the center, and they're separated by a chain 2 in the middle. So this is how it looks like, okay, on this side so far. And then we're gonna finish it off on this side, and then this is gonna be enough for the mesh before we go back to the block. And this is gonna be how we repeat the project pretty much from this point on. That is what we do, is we do 4 rows of normal double crochets before we go into 2 rows of the mesh. But let's not skip ahead. I will show you what to do here. We do a chain 2, we skip just 1, which is this one here, just like we did on this side, and into the next stitch you go ahead and do a double crochet. So just like that, we're only skipping 1 stitch here, just like we did on this side. And then I'm going to do a chain 2, and then skip these 2 stitches here, and on top of the previous double crochet, which is the 3rd stitch, you do a double crochet, chain 2, repeat what we did from the other side by just continuing to skip 2 stitches, and it so happened to be the 3rd is the previous double crochet, and on top of that you do your double crochet. And then again, to finish it off at this end, I'm going to skip obviously these 2 double crochet, or these 2 stitches here, and in the 3rd I'm going to do my double crochet. Then I'm going to do a chain 2, and 1, 2, this is my chain 3. On top of that chain 3, I'm going to do 2 double crochets, just like that. And again, when you see this like this, it matches exactly what we did on this side. Okay, so we have the 2 double crochets here with chain 2, we skip nothing, we go into the next and we do a double crochet, and then we do the regular. And this is exactly what I did on this side. I did my double crochet here, I chain 2, but I skip nothing, there's no stitch here. I go straight to the next stitch to do my 2 double crochets into the same stitch. Okay, so if again I put that down flat, and often you just have to stretch your work a little bit as you work on it. This is what it looks like so far. Okay, now we're going to go back to doing the regular double crochets, and I'm going to go ahead and do a chain of 3, which is what we do for each beginning of the row. Then we flip, and in the next, that same stitch where my chain 2 comes from, I'm going to go ahead and do a double crochet. And then in the next stitch I do a double crochet, and then in the chain 2 space that we have from the previous row, I do 2 double crochets in that space. Okay, so that way we're not skipping a stitch at all, we're actually working into every stitch, but except instead of working into the stitches here, we just go right into the hole there. And then on top of this double crochet, I'm going to do a double crochet. Okay. And then you're going to go into the chain 2 spot space and do 2 double crochets, because that's where your 2 stitches are. And then on top of the previous double crochet, do a double crochet. In the chain 2 spot, do 2 double crochets. And you kind of get the point, okay? So you do this all the way here. When you come to here, you do your 2 double crochets in this gap here. And then on top of this previous double crochet, there's a double crochet to be done. On top of the next double crochet, there's a double crochet to be done. Then you go straight into the middle, do 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets, and then you go ahead and do a double crochet in this stitch here. See this stitch here? That's the double crochet you do on top of that. You do a double crochet on top of this double crochet from the previous row. And then 2 double crochets, a double crochet on top of this, 2 double crochets here, a double crochet on top of this, and you do this all the way to this end here. When you have done your 2 double crochets here, come back. I will show you how to do the final part of this row, and then I will go ahead and have you repeat these 4 more times before we go back to doing the mesh. Okay, but for now, just work yourself until you get to this final chain 2 spot. Come back. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and worked this row here. So as you can see, it's a solid row of the double crochet. And as I said, come when you have finished the 2 double crochets in that chain 2 spot. And it's just so I can show you how to finish these off here, because from here on we work on top of that double crochet, this here, and we just go ahead on top of that and we do our double crochet. Oops, let's start that over so we don't actually pull any yarn. So we do our double crochet there, but keep in mind we have our chain 3 here. So 1 2 3. So on top of this stitch here, we're going to do 2 double crochets. Why? Because we're increasing on each side here, and it's also going to help us have this corner here staying sharp so that it doesn't kind of bend in a weird way. Okay, but this is pretty much how your 5th row, is it 5th, 6th row should look. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 row. This is how your 7th row should look like, and it's the first going back to the double crochet row. And then you're going to repeat this 1 more time. This is how I have decided I'm going to alternate my colors. And this is what I'm going to explain. So please listen carefully so that you know what to do from here on. So the repeat of this work is pretty much going to be the 2nd row here, this row, and then the 2 rows of the mesh. And then when you go back to the solid, you do 4 rows of the solid before you go back and do 2 rows of the mesh. And it's pretty much what we've been doing here so far, okay? But what I'm going to do, because I do have this color that we are alternating this with, for me, if you do have 2 colors, then this is probably where you would do the same. If you have 1 color, you literally continue just by alternating these 4 rows, 2 rows, 4 rows, 2 rows, okay? But what I will do here is I will do 1 more row of this red color in a solid. And then I'll bring these in and change to this. I will not show you how to change the color. You know that by now. I know even as a beginner, you will know how to change color, because every project, I have so many projects that shows you how to change your color. I'm going to change to this color and do 2 more rows. So instead of it being 4 solid rows of the double crochet in just the red, I'm going to do 2 in the red, and then 2 in this, and then do 2 rows of the mesh in this color, and then 2 more rows of the solid in this color. I hope you're keeping up. Change it to the red, do 2 rows of the red in the red, the solid in the red, 2 mesh rows in the red, 2 more rows of the solid in the red before I change it to this. So that's how I'm going to alternate it. What I will do is, as I'm explaining this, I will actually have a picture of how the color change is happening, so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. But that's how I'm going to alternate it. Yeah, so work on this. Go ahead and just continue to work this. And in terms of size, I'm making mine into a medium size. You can make this into a small, and the way that happens is you just stop when you think you've reached the small size, depending on who you're making for. I'm making a medium, and if you're looking to make a large or an extra large, you just continue to build your rows until it's large enough that it's a large. Okay, so this doesn't have specific, this many rows is for small, these many rows is for a medium, medium, a small, a large, an extra large, like that. You just work your shawl until you have the size that you think is decent for what you're making it for, who you're making it for. And when you have reached that size, then you stop. Okay, but I'm gonna just build these up until I have about a medium size for me, and then I'm gonna stop. So please go ahead and work on your shawl the same way. Change your colors the way you want to change it, and I will see you guys at the end when we see how the whole thing looks like. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked on my shawl here, and as you can see, this is pretty much how it looks like. I'm just about to finish here. I have completed the final stitch here. I have decided to stop here because this is the size that I'm looking to have. And so what I will do here, and as you can see, I have also kind of run out of the yarn, which is good because I have enough. And I'm just gonna go ahead and lock these in here like that. And of course I'm going to weave these in, and as you can see in all the spots that I change color, which all happen to be on one side, by the way, because we're doing even number of rows for each color, they all happen to be on one side. So I will weave all of these in. So if I put my hook away really quickly, this is where we commenced our work right here. Okay, so as you can see, we worked on this section here together. And then I had explained how to continue to work your work all the way to where you want it to be. And as you can see, this is the color change the way I did it. We finished this first row of the solid together, and I say do one more of the red and then change the color to whatever color you have. I change it to this beige color, and I did 2 more rows of that in this beige color, the 2 rows of the mesh in this color, the 2 more rows of the solid in that color, and then I changed to the red. And for me, I found that changing the color like this allows each of these blocks here to be 2 blocks of the same color on each side, and then the mesh in the middle. And as you can see, when you go to this section here, is the same way. I think it looks good like this, in my opinion. Maybe to you it doesn't. Then of course you will change the colors the way you want to change it. And as you can see, this is the top of the triangle here, and then we have the triangle over here where we finished our work, and then of course the bottom triangle right here. Okay, so this work is pretty much done. So this is a very nice shawl, in my opinion. This is a really good pattern that I think it makes it looks really nice. The colors for me are kind of fallish colors. They're you know, these kind of like bright colors that we have with the fall here. If you're watching this video in a different season altogether, but of course that's fine. You can always do this in different colors for it to represent a different season. But yeah, this is pretty much the end of the project here. All I need to do, of course, is, and just for those of you who are interested, I ended up doing 44 rows altogether. So this is a medium size for me. It came up to 44 rows. And for the amount of yarn I used about 2.5 skeins of each color. Okay, I had a little bit of this color here left, but a little bit of this, a little bit more of this color left, less of the red color left, a little bit of more of this, just because I did more rows in the color, in the red color. As you can see, I only have 3 blocks in this color, in the light color, and in the red I have 4 blocks. So it explains why I have a little bit of more left in this than this one here. But yeah, so about 2.5 of this, depending on your size. This is a medium. Of each color. So I say get 3 skeins for each of these 2 colors here. So you should have 6 skeins by the time you proceed with your project. Okay, so this is the end of the video here. I'm gonna go ahead and say bye to you guys, but before you guys actually click off, please make sure to subscribe. That really does support me. I really appreciate it. And make sure you hit the notification bell to be reminded of more videos coming. I'm gonna be working on more shawls and punches for these colder weather coming up, so please make sure you hit the notification bell, and of course like the video and share with your significant others, your friends, your family members, so that they can learn something that something like this that they can make for themselves as well. Okay, all right, okay, we're gonna stop here. Thank you so much again, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.